Good morning. Top of the morning to you all. When you hear heavier traffic, like machinery and that, it's not a problem on Sunday. It's the first day of the week. And actually, we don't celebrate the last day of the week. We celebrate the first day of the new creation as Christians. We're not celebrating the completion of the creation act, but the new creation. Some Christians have a kind of a problem with that. They kind of missed out that part of the understanding of Sunday. It's naturally also good it's a great blessing for society to be able to stop for 2 days. There are some countries that demand their people to work 7 days a week and they have 1 day a month off. It's for those of us who are used to having a culture of 5 days a week work, and in some places it's even less, the way it's organized, if they do a little longer day. 4.5 days work, and that the human being can enter into that leisure, that not the lap of luxury leisure, but the leisure of not being under duress of producing, not being stressed out, not being a beast of burden. I have to share some little thing. Yesterday, my sister and I, Celine, we walked to Share Zedek Hospital. We passed by this building over here. Maybe I should get another view of it. Yeah, it's pretty good. So behind the crane you have a building there, a very tall building, Terra Sancta College, and maybe very close to it we can see another building. But actually in the last couple of years this tree here in the foreground here by the French hospital has grown a lot, and you can just see it right under the branch there in the corner of this close building, the dome of the chief rabbinate of Israel. But that was only not even a quarter of the way there, and it was to visit a good friend who was very supportive and kind for every Sunday morning here in Notre Dame, and she's recuperating from some surgery and getting back on her feet. And there wasn't anybody on the streets, just a couple of security vehicles. And we could cross major intersections, 8 or 10 lanes, nobody on the streets. This Yom Kippur experience was very strong. I don't think my sister had done that before. I discovered that a long time ago when I was here first. But walking on the streets, the roads, children with their bicycles on the main intersections, you could even see the parents taking out the children to have the experience. And the amazing thing that a country can shut down for a complete day. There's a shutdown every Shabbat. Yesterday was also Shabbat and also Yom Kippur. But to have a day for prayer, for reflection, for quiet, in this case, for fasting, it's quite an impressive cultural reality. And sometimes we're always on the run, always chasing. It's a very good thing to be able to do that. In our Western world, we need to find times for that. Obviously, our Western world also has a practice of lots of vacations in other ways, and so maybe that is a way to compensate for that human need. So let's turn to our readings today. I hear a different type of set of bells, and they're earlier on the weekdays. They're earlier than on the weekdays. I'm not sure if they're Greek Orthodox bells, or they're here from the Holy Sepulchre maybe, probably, but I can't. Can you hear them? Now they're clearer. Depends on how much background noise there is. So the big dominant theme today we have in the readings is about riches and wealth. And that concerns every human being because we're all people of body and material. We need houses. Look at all the houses that are built here, all over the city, in the distance. There's probably close to 1 million people in the extended Jerusalem area if you include some outer villages and close towns. Imagine the amount of work and commitment. Even this house here that we're in, Notre Dame, looking at that, what it took to build. It was built with camels. Camels carried the stones up on ramps. 140 years ago, more or less, it started. And the stone was quarried right here, so there wasn't a major transport need from outside, which is also a big part of construction, but all the stone was quarried underneath here. Just to consider the effort that took. We have pictures from that time and the quarry work, and people needed compensation. They provided for their families. The need for resources to feed their families, to have housing for their families, to provide for health, for clothing, for food. So money then becomes a means of transaction to provide the basic needs. There's another word for money as well as currency, right? And exchange. In Spanish, cambio, the change you have. To change this for that. So it's moving. Money is moving. And it's moving between people, from people, to pay for groceries, to buy clothes, to provide transportation, to fix a leak in the roof. It all needs money. And the questions we have in the readings today deal with the very big questions surrounding the whole reality of money. It's good to have money to provide for these needs. It's very difficult and not good when families don't have enough resources to provide food for their children, the very basics. And so this topic occupies the mind of the writers over 2,000 years ago. I'd like to start with a more general topic first, which is in the Psalm. Fill us with your love, O Lord, and we will sing for joy. Fill us with your love, O Lord, and we will sing for joy. What a powerful line, and it's really what we all want. The foundational aspiration. Fill us with your love, O Lord, and we will sing for joy. And the first line that's offered from Psalm 90 here is 2 verses earlier than the responsorial, and it is, teach us to number our days aright, that we may gain wisdom of heart. About having a view of our whole life and the purpose of our life. And it's a funny thing, or a real thing, a dramatic thing, that somebody who made millions and millions and millions of dollars, at the end of their life they're giving it away, or they're losing it. They're either giving it away voluntarily, or they're losing it by economic problems. Devaluations, change in trade routes, the business is lost, there isn't enough turnover to keep it going, they have to close down. Again, we have that change. Things are changing. So to have a view over the changes of things is part of knowing about the value of money, or its lack of value, which is probably the big theme here today, that money lacks value, and not just because it declined in economic value today, but it actually can't deliver what many people demand that it deliver happiness, that it deliver peace, that it gives rest to our soul. Naturally, not to have sufficient creates anxiety. Not to have sufficient to buy food creates anxiety. And people lose work, factory closes down, 1,000 jobs are lost in a town, 1,000 families are deprived of that income. A decision is made that's impossible for these workers to influence. Even if they had a trade union and do a strike, the company no longer has a market. So there's not going to be an income of revenue for the company. They cannot keep the jobs. And so we have the Book of Wisdom. There's a lot of maturity of thought in this in the scriptures. I prayed and prudence was given me. I pleaded and the spirit of wisdom came to me. I preferred her to being king. I preferred wisdom to being a king. Instead, if I have an option, do you want to be a king or do you want to have wisdom? Prefer wisdom. This is what this writer of the Book of Wisdom is saying. I preferred her to scepter and throne. And I deemed riches, money, nothing in comparison with her. Jewels, pearls, a beautiful house, a palace, great buying power. I considered all of that nothing in comparison with wisdom. And so we have one person who is a billionaire but very unwise, and you have another poor person who has a little hut, a little shack, and struggling each day to provide for the family, but is very wise in approach very loving with the children, with his spouse, with her spouse. Nothing is comparable to wisdom. No money, no amount of money, no amount of possessions. Before her, silver is to be accounted mire, muck, dirt. Because the splendor of wisdom never yields to sleep. Interesting thoughts, right? Yet all things come together, came to me in her company. All things together came to me in her company. If I have wisdom, I have all I need. And then we have the rich young man in the gospel coming to Jesus and saying, "What must I do to enter the kingdom of heaven?" What must I do to inherit eternal life? Inheritance also could be seen in terms of money. What must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus says, keep the commandments. So we must do things for eternal life. We must keep the commandments. Jesus didn't abrogate the commandments. Do not lie. Do liars enter the kingdom of heaven? Do not steal. And interestingly, you see, these are our social relationships. How I treat others, if I'm honest, truthful, fake news, putting on impressions, trying to look better than I am, or even the other kind of illness is trying to look worse than I am. Pity me, pity me, pity me. Do not lie. Do not bear false witness against somebody. How horrible. Honor your father and your mother. Many times there's a breakdown of family relationships. And everybody who helps a family relationship, any family relationship, even outside their own family, is a huge blessing to our world. Because every healthy family relationships are one of the greatest sources of peace and life and goodness and serenity, ability to be able to help others. And this guy was saying, I did all of these things. So a very upright person, a very well-related person to others. But he had one problem. When Jesus said to him, go and sell all you have and give it to the poor, and come follow me and you will have treasure in heaven, he went away sad. His wealth was the cause of sadness. His soul was filled with sadness at the invitation of the kingdom, and the reason was his wealth. He was attached to his wealth. He put too much emphasis on the importance of possessions. We have that beautiful prayer in the Our Father, give us this day our daily bread. What we need for today, biblical wisdom. He had huge wealth. And huge wealth is a very relative thing. It depends on the economy, on the culture, on the standards. People, God bless you. See you later, alligators. Have a beautiful Sunday. May your heart be free so you can be filled with joy. Lord, let us know your love so we can be filled with gladness. See you later, alligators. Have a blessed Sunday filled with wisdom. Wow, I'm not getting this thing to turn around. There we go. God bless you.